that the government has to be there to guarantee the mortgages. Is that true?
It's nonsense. Because, first of all, right now, the government is guaranteeing better than 90% of all mortgages. A very small part of that are FHA-guaranteed mortgages. Most of that are Fannie and Freddie purchases in the secondary market. So if you get rid of Fannie and Freddie, you're not going to have 90% of the mortgage market guaranteed by the FHA. That's number one. And number two is there's no reason to even have the FHA. You could have private mortgage insurance. We crowded them out of the business. And look what we got. We built up home ownership from 50% to 70%. We caused this crash. Get out.
The last third couldn't afford it. Hey, John Taylor, all this government dominance of the housing market, really, when you look back over the last 10, 12 years, didn't work out all that great. When you say it's time to try something different, like a free enterprise housing market?
Actually, you have to look a little longer than that. And don't look at even looking at the last 10 to 12 years. We were doing pretty well there. It's the last 5 or 6 when, unfortunately, Fannie followed that free market that you keep talking about right into this subprime abyss and started getting into businesses that it shouldn't have gotten into. But before that, let's face it, America's middle class and the housing boom in America can be directly attributed to the work of Fannie and Freddie. And while they did prime loans and while they didn't capture too much market share and particularly stayed out of the subprime business, they actually helped millions of homeowners, and I would bet most of your viewers to be able to enter the home ownership arena. So they can do a good job.
And then we crushed those people that we helped, and we destroyed their lives by vaporizing their equity.
Now, who's we? Are we talking about the free market now, Steve?
All you really just said was that the government built the housing bubble. What they did was they used the Community Reinvestment Act as a stick, and they used Fannie and Freddie as a carrot, and they built this bubble. And the bubble burst.
So
get them out.
Steve,
and how do you have Canada functioning
Steve, can I get a word
without
in
a
here?
Fannie and Freddie? Tell me that. How do you have Canada functioning?
If you let me speak. If you let me speak. Okay, first off, let's start with CRA. If you look at the Federal Reserve, hardly a bastion of liberal thought. They have emphatically ended this argument that CRA had anything to do with this because their research has shown that less than 6% of all these subprime and high-cost loans came from CRA-regulated institutions. So take that off the table. Stop saying that. You sound like an idiot. But let me also say, Fannie and Freddie, up until 2001 and 2003, stayed out of the subprime market to any appreciable degree. They were profitable. The risk to the government was minimal. But they lost $1 trillion worth of market share to that free market that you kept referring to, which brought us into this arena. That's what brought us down.
So why
unregulated institutions?
If all this is so great, then why is I don't know about the Fed being liberal. I actually think the Fed is quite liberal on economic matters, but that's a separate thing. I know the Obama administration is chock full of good old-fashioned liberals. God bless us.
Is that right?
Now, even those good old-fashioned liberals in the Treasury Department and in the White House, they want to cut Fannie and Freddie way back because the taxpayers now, to the tune of a couple of $100 billion or more, are having to finance the disastrous policies of Fannie and Freddie. So I ask you,
Larry,
John,
what's going to happen?
Isn't this a great time? Look, I'm looking at a headline here. Home affordability returns to pre-bubble levels.
Right.
This is from Mark Sandy. I'm looking at a front-page story in the Wall Street Journal. People are out there buying cheap homes for cash. Now, I know it's not over the problems, but this might be a good time to start getting Uncle Sam out. There's no time like the present.
They've screwed it up. John doesn't know what he's talking about. The CRA did drive this. Fannie and Freddie did drive this. And if we just let this free market work and we clear out this dead wood, people who are 400 to 600 days in arrears, we don't need protecting them. We need to protect the 44 million Americans who aren't in default and the 20 or 30 million or 10 million Americans who own their homes for
cash. And John,
cash.
let me just ask one more thing. How about a 20% down payment on buying a home? That there, right by itself, would have avoided so much of the disaster. These government agencies don't want anyone to put a down payment on, and the taxpayers have to shoulder the burden. How about that for private sector?
Look, I'm for a down payment. I'm for a down payment. It doesn't need to be 20%.
Yeah, it needs to be 20.
No, it doesn't.
Not 3%, not 0, but 20 with documentation
the data shows
and that's where Fannie and Freddie started in the 30s.
Let's let our friend John respond.
Thank you. Even as low as 7% down payment, all the way up to 20, you see very little appreciable difference in performance. Look, the market.
I'm groaning.
You're not Steve. You're not suggesting we get rid of the free market, and those are the guys who brought us into this subprime mess. So let's keep
the
the
free
good that
market
Fannie...
didn't bring us into the subprime mess.
Come on.
gentlemen.
Really? Can you say Bear Stearns? Can you say Merrill Lynch,
20%
Morgan
down
Stanley?
payment,
Can you say
private mortgage
Ameriquest, New
insurance.
Century?
I can say it.
Gentlemen,
say it.
John Taylor, thank you very much.
Free market.
Steve Meister, thank you very much. The free market and a 20% down payment. Thank you very much. Now, folks, coming up.